And we're live.
Then there's the Tellman there's the shift in the the on camera Tellman.
That's right. The on camera Tellman is here. So cool. Hey everybody. I'm just Matt and I have been friends for a long time, and Matt was asking me about Facebook Live and live streaming and promoting his businesses and his book and his philosophy and all the work that he's doing. And I've been actually a slacker lately about being consistent about my Facebook Lives right after I told you how important consistency was earlier, Matt. I have not, it's been a while since I actually did a live stream. So we're using this as an opportunity to just go and talk a little bit about live streaming and do it slightly more publicly, but we're not really trying to accomplish anything today. We're just chatting about it. So yeah, it's to the degree that is possible. Let's try to have a normal conversation, but yeah, we're also kind of broadcasting out to a whole bunch of people at the same time.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me on, and thanks for the tutorial today. I'm excited about coming up against my walls to putting myself out there and being a part of the world. The reason I'm doing it, like we talked about before, is that at least I feel that I have some messages that that the world ought to hear and be a part of the conversation. So it's time for me to see whether that's just me that feels that way, or whether I'm actually going to be engaging in some things that people want to take part in. So I'm anxious to see the answer to that. And if I do initiate things that people don't want to take part in, I hope that they will transform. That I will learn how to lead by following and convert and transform them into something that people will want to talk about.
Awesome. Well, you were what? Can I ask you just a couple quick questions about your entrepreneurial history, just to give everybody some background?
Yeah.
I'm going to kind of play dumb a little bit, right?
Okay.
So you've been an entrepreneur for a long time. Like I'm guessing most of your adult life, right?
Yeah. I started shining shoes on the streets of Manhattan when I was like 8.
Nice.
And that's, you're getting a picture of me that I maybe need to correct a little bit, because I did not grow up in abject poverty and needed to shine shoes to bring pennies home so that we could get some beef bones to make broth with for the family. That wasn't my situation. I grew up on the Upper West Side of Manhattan to 2 narcissistic artist parents, and I had I forget where I got it, but there was a shoe shine box in the house. There was like one of those things where you turn side over and there's a place to put your shoe. And I was like, why don't I just go down to my corner and I'll sit there and I'll see if anybody wants me to shine their shoes. So that was my first entrepreneurial experience. Since then, I've been mostly the early part of my life was focused on restaurants and cooking and food. And I went to restaurant school when I was young because I was able to get a scholarship through being a kitchen assistant there. So it was affordable for me. And I went there really because I had worked in restaurants as a waiter, and I saw the kitchen and I said, I want to be there instead of here. That's where the actions happen, and I'm not sure about the impulse retroactively as I look back. I'm not sure what that impulse was about, but life is a river, and you float down the tributary that you're on until you get off it.
That's right.
So I went to restaurant school when I was young, and the first thing I did was my first entrepreneurial experience was opening a sushi takeout and delivery service in Manhattan. Nice. out of the back room of a Puerto Rican butcher shop. So
Sounds
he would
sanitary.
be
All right.
so he would be open. He would be open during the day.
Yeah.
And then I would come in at 5 o'clock, and we would start making sushi out of the back. It was called Sushi Madness, and I got to
Oh,
hire.
I like that. I like that.
I got to hire. This was in 1983 when sushi was not commonplace, even in
Right.
New York.
All right.
And so, I got to hire all my degenerate friends, and it was great. We had
How old were you when you started that?
I was 20.
Cool. I love that. I love that.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. So we had some some good times. We had some super high profile customers like Andy McDowell and Lou Reed and Leonard Bernstein, and people loved our sushi. Of course, I was not the businessman I am today, and I need to qualify that by saying I've never been a particularly good businessman. I love to create. I love to generate. One of the things that I could have realized before owning 9 restaurants is that I really love opening restaurants. That's what I really love. I love the process of creating them and making the menus and getting the staff and watching it.
Right.
But when you get to the part in the story where the dishwasher's calling in on a Friday night saying he's sick and he can't, that's where I should have jumped out of the story a chapter before that.
Right. Right. Classic entrepreneur, right? Really, really good starter, but not so fired up about the day to day, right?
Totally. Yeah. And when I look back, for some reason, I was afraid of going there. I was afraid of it. It's amazing how long it took me to realize that that's just the part of the business that I liked. I really felt like, I had a reading the other day. I don't usually do these things, but my wife had a reading with a woman in California who she said was magic.
Yeah.
Magic. And every time I hear that, I'm like, all right, I'm magic. Tell me where to buy the ticket.
That's right.
So I didn't find her magic, but one of the things she did tell me about was she said that my spirit animal was an elk. And again, spirit animal is another thing. The jury's out for me. I don't disbelieve. I'm just sort of great. That's interesting. But she said the elk is typified by stamina. And it feels like with restaurants, it feels like I just muscled my way through. And I really needed to stop and think, what is it you really like about this and what don't you like? So that's my entrepreneurial experience. I have owned 9 restaurants in my life, 8 of them in the United States, 1 of them in Cuenca, Ecuador. And then what I've really been doing for the last 15 or 20 years is sitting for people on psychedelic medicines. And I also have a tour company in Ecuador called Shungo Tours at shungotours.com, SHUNGO. And that's a tour where I bring people to Ecuador and mix work with psychedelic medicines into a really rare and unusual cultural experience of Ecuador, where people get to see into and participate in activities and events that really you wouldn't have access to normally. So there's my entrepreneurial experience.
Cool. Yeah. So so we're talking about live streaming and how to make your live stream successful and attract people and have them be into it. And being someone who has a lot of entrepreneurial experience, as you do, and a wide variety of interests, when we're live streaming or creating content, most people, and you kind of said this yourself before we went live, is all right, well, I'm working on a website and it's all about me and my interests and all the different things. And great, makes sense, right? So when we talk about the daily newspaper example and the reason and the importance of live streaming consistently and how it gives you enormous advantage. It's not like you can live stream inconsistently, and there are people who are enormously successful who live stream inconsistently, right? So that's also true. But when you look at the newspaper about and you think about what's written in the newspaper, is the newspaper about the people that wrote the articles?
No.
No, it's not. The newspaper is about the people in the town.
Right.
And the stuff and the businesses in the town and the politics in the town and the schedule for the schools and the and the write up on the business that owned and the write up on the business that burned down and the and who died and like who was born. The paper is about the people.
Right.
And one of the easy traps that we all get into when we're creating content or telling stories or giving examples of our life or teaching is we forget that it's not about us, because we're talking from our own perspective and we're using our stories and we're like, oh, well, it's all about me and people are paying attention to me. And
right.
Now everybody's saying I'm awesome and all these people are watching my stuff, but it's actually not about you at all. It's about you communicating the stuff that resonates with your people. Right.
Yes.
And your ability to kind of tell stories or give examples or motivate and inspire is really about your ability to connect with them about kind of their life and the stories that are going on behind the scenes, in their experience, and where you might overlay with that and overlap with that. And so, as you're live streaming and maybe talking about multiple topics, you probably will end up becoming more focused over time, because you'll see that different people start and in different amounts start resonating with certain types of videos that you do or certain types of posts that you do and around certain topics. Right. So, maybe people are going to end up being super interested in the book you're working on, or maybe people are going to be super interested in the tours, or maybe people are going to be super interested in the psychedelic stuff, or maybe people are going to be super interested in like food and restaurant related stuff. Who knows? And you don't always. The problem is you don't get to choose what they're interested in.
Yeah.
But you do get to pay attention and do more of what seems to be working when you get traction. And so what I mean by this is you'll do a bunch of videos, expect for the first month, maybe longer, to just be talking to a ghost town, so when you show up and start live streaming, do not expect people to be there and pay attention, and do not expect them to interact with you. You need to be able to talk about your topic as if there's 10,000 people watching, but not need any feedback from the audience in order to talk smoothly and not get all self-conscious and embarrassed or whatever.
Right.
That's one nice thing about having a co-host as well, is that you can just focus on your co-host instead of how many or how few people are watching you. Because it's like, if there's nobody watching you, you feel self-conscious. And if there's way too many people watching you, you feel self-conscious. Either way, you're going to feel self-conscious, So as you're consistently creating new content, 1 out of 50, 1 out of 100 videos will be like a home run. And all of a sudden, you'll have 30 views on all your things, and all of a sudden something's going to get 1,000, and you won't necessarily have any idea why. And you may never figure out why. I have one student named Eric, who is in Hawaii, and he has long dreadlocks, and he lives off grid, and he's building his email list, and he is live streaming every day and doing reels every day, and he's selling Kagan water filters, and he's selling some other opportunity, and he's trying to appeal to homesteaders. Then he's trying to appeal to people that are interested in ionized water, and he's trying to figure out this whole process out. And like whenever he does a video about like making some vegan dish, with his homegrown produce, it goes crazy. But he did this one video that was like a review of the Kagan water filter, and it got like 144,000 views out of nowhere. It just blew up.
Wow.
And so
Wow.
this will happen over time, and sometimes it will be useful and make sense and be reproducible, and sometimes it will be a one-off. But one of the other reasons to make videos consistently is because you just don't know when you're gonna hit a home run.
Right.
You can get better and better and better at the more home runs you hit. But basically, the more times you swing, the more chances there are that you're going to hit a home run, right? Yeah. So that's another reason to make videos every day is just swing, boom, boom, boom. Just keep going.
Can I ask one technical question?
Please.
Which is, do I see, on this platform of StreamYard, do I see responses as I would on Facebook?
Yeah. When people, the answer is yes. There is a comment section, and if people were lighting up our video with comments right now, you would, as a guest, you would probably see that over on the right. You may be in the upper right-hand corner of your dashboard. You may be able to see a comments.
Yeah, I do. I
bubble.
See comments.
So guys, if there's anybody watching and you want to comment, please do. That'd be nice.
Okay. Yeah.
Often with live streaming, until you've built up a really solid following and people are jumping on your live streams live, especially in the first few months, people will end up interacting, watching, and leaving comments after your live stream is done. So that's the other great thing about live streaming is the majority of your views are going to come from people watching the recording no matter what, because you do it and then it's there literally as long as that social media platform is still in business, right?
Yeah.
So huge amount of long tail viewing opportunity for this stuff. So so don't get too, as I said, don't get too worried about if people aren't commenting at first. And if your audience hasn't had a lot of, it's Liza. Hey Liza, how's it going? Hey. Liza's watching on LinkedIn. I told her we were about to jump on, and she managed to find the live stream on LinkedIn. So there you go. Comments in action.
Thank you, Liza.
Appreciate it. So cool. So, I mean, that's basically the deal. You were asking about backgrounds before we jumped on. What was your question about backgrounds?
Well, honestly, it's one of the areas that I've always gotten stuck on, and I am in an ongoing debate with myself about whether I'm making too much of it, or whether I need to have, number one, a consistent and particular. Apart from the videos where I'm walking on the beach and saying I just had this thought and I want to share it with you. Should it be a consistent setting? And number two, what setting? Are there?
Yeah, I mean, let your art brain work on that one, dude. Like it doesn't. So it doesn't really matter, and it completely matters. So I usually I'm sitting at my dining room table.
Yep.
Because it's convenient for me to work here. And this is where my laptop is often perched. And so this is where I do a lot of my live streams. I do have an office upstairs that has a way cooler background. And I have a kind of a standing up desk situation up there, and that's cool. And so if I've been sitting for too long and I just want to do a standing up live stream, I'll do it up there. It definitely looks cooler, but it's kind of further away from the house and a little less convenient. Yeah. And people that put a ton of time, effort, and energy into making a beautiful background for themselves, often it pays off. Like, it can look, have amazing lighting and amazing background and amazing mics and amazing cameras and amazing computer to do the whole thing. Like, there's endless upgrades. So what I would say is work on your background, work on your presentation, but don't let it prevent you from going live every day.
Yeah. Because there is, like, I notice when people are scrolling, at least when I'm scrolling, a background will catch my eye. It'll give me an idea of the basic category that I can put the streaming into. If I see somebody with Buddhas and hangings and I know, I get an idea of my first clue that I might be interested in what they're talking about.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, having a good presentation. You can also think about the kind of clothes that you're wearing, right? And so we were obviously just having a meeting on a Sunday morning. I'm not shaven. I often wear a button-up shirt instead of a t-shirt when I'm live streaming, but I'm not so self-conscious about it that it mattered, so because I didn't know we were going to live stream this morning when we got on the meeting, right? So one piece is just don't let being self-conscious prevent you from pressing the go live button. But I mean, you own 9 restaurants, presentation is important. The way your restaurant looks on the outside and the inside is important. Whether or not it gives people, a good ambiance, good vibe, makes them want to come back. That's the equivalent of interacting with the video, sharing with the video, et cetera, et cetera. And depending on your style and the types of people that you're trying to attract, you're going to want to have your background and your overall presentation be in, the right vibe as the kind of people that you want to pay attention to your stuff and give you money ultimately, in whatever capacity that might be. So, dress in a way that, dress and create a background if you're going to do that in a way that's going to be appealing and attractive to the types of people that you want to attract to your content.
Got it.
I'm not a fan, generally speaking, of fake backgrounds. As cool as they look and as almost seamless as they look, everybody's using them. And so when all of a sudden you see yet again the same fake background in the background, it's fake, and you're kind of like, oh, come on. Like it feels less authentic in a way. I mean, I understand sometimes your background looks like you're in a room that looks so terrible that you don't want to put it on video, and that's reasonable, I guess. But generally speaking, I would say avoid the fake backgrounds. They kind of try to make a good background if you can, or at least put yourself in a position where it's good. I don't have a great lighting situation. It looks okay right now, but I don't have any professional lights set up for most of my live streaming these days. I do have one of those circle lights in my office upstairs that I hang to kind of get a direct kind of just good looking light on my face. But and I'm sure there are a million ways that my videos can be made better. All the like video people are probably rolling over, thinking of a list, 20 miles long of all the things that I could do to enhance my videos. So again, there's endless room for making them better, both content wise and visual and audio. There's no limit.
Right. And using StreamYard would basically mean at this point, until and unless there is some kind of a development in it, I'm either using my the camera on my laptop, or I'm getting a better camera that I clip to my laptop.
Yeah. I mean, I can't really speak to PCs because I haven't used one in a long time, but like most MacBook Pros are ready to go, or anything like that. Yeah. Then those are the basic lessons, man. Is consistency. Co-hosts really do help. I do recommend that. I'm gonna give you an example. If you guys want to take a look at Matt's cool tour business, you can go to his website, right? So I just he said that, just like magic, just like magic. It is just like magic. So that's cool. And then if any of you have questions about live streaming as it applies to you or your situation, please ask them in the comments. I should have mentioned that earlier. That's right. And that's the long and short of it. Co-hosts are great. Consistency is great. And the more you can really be focused on helping your niche and your market out as you become more and more clear about who exactly is it in the audience that you're building, and the more focused your content becomes on assisting them to live better lives, the easier it's going to be to attract more and more and more people like that. And the more overall, the more diverse your interests are and the more spread out they are, the more eclectic they are, the longer it's going to take you to get momentum, because you're going to be, so I'm interested in barefoot running, hot sauce, didgeridoos, hypnosis, internet marketing, like all this stuff. They're unrelated. I'm a parent, and I can bring stories into them and connect them up with different things to make them related. But for the average person, if I want to sell hot sauce, I'm going to be doing videos about hot sauce, hot peppers, and food on a daily basis. I'm not going to be doing videos about like binaural beats, shamanism, and running barefoot. Like it's not going to make direct sense, right? So
that's definitely going to be that's definitely an appropriate challenge for me, because I definitely have so many interests and so many things that I want to talk about, and
you're going to do that, and you're going to go on tangents no matter what. You're going to go into these different, but like in terms of the core, who are you serving, and how are you helping them, right? And the clearer that becomes, the easier everything else will become. The more organized and focused, and it'll just become more clear what to talk about on a daily basis and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, do you have any other questions?
I don't think so. I think I need to get a StreamYard account first and foremost, and start figuring out how to be comfortable with it. Start making a list of potential co-hosts, I think I have my work cut out for me. I super appreciate you taking the time to illuminate this for me. I really do. I feel like I have so many other pieces in place, and this is like, like many things in my life, I'm trying to gauge how much of it is holding me up, and how much of it I'm using to fuel my holding myself up. So I'm glad for both things. I'm glad that I know that, and that I have someone who's encouraging me to just do it.
Cool. Well, great. Can I hold your feet to the fire on that?
Absolutely. I wish you would.
So a couple things, right?
Okay.
Number one is when you so for argument's sake, choose one of your major businesses or areas of focus that you think you want to focus on the most right now.
Okay.
Which one is it?
It's the work.
Great. We'll just leave it at that. So you and I both know what you're talking about. You can, etc. Right? So great. Good topic. The work. So, do you have the work, and that would that dovetail into the book?
The work, well, yeah, it dovetails into the book, and it dovetails into psychedelics as well, because they're all a part of the work.
Can I say like 2 words about the work, just to kind of like open it up for people?
Yeah.
Okay. So Matt and I have the same counselor, and when I got divorced, I was an emotional train wreck. And Matt and I had a conversation a few years ago, and he was like, dude, I need you to meet this guy. And so we have the same therapist, counselor, and the work comes from working with him. So that's just like a short version, right? And you're writing a book about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you think about the people that would most benefit from learning about the work, just based on like the people that you've seen benefit from it so far, like that's a good place to start. And if you can imagine, and we haven't talked about what your financial goals are with the book or what that looks like on the back end or whatever. But like, if you can imagine that was a full-time business, right? Selling the book and or doing the work on the back of that, whether you're working with individuals or groups, and whether it's psychedelic or whatever the case is. If you can imagine the business behind attracting 100,000 people, 1 million people, to your following around the work. If that were a full-time business, and obviously there's a lot of different things that a full-time business can mean, but if it was a full-time business, how many hours a week do you think on average you would be like, once that business is cranking and is really it's where you want it to be? How many hours a week do you think you're going to be putting into that business?
20.
Great. So cool. So it's a 20-hour-a-week business. It's really cranking. And does it have other employees and team members, or are you just a one-man show with this future business?
I love the idea of team members and collaboration. I love relationship and collaboration. Right at this moment, I can't visualize it. I haven't spent a lot of time thinking about it, so I'm just responding to the question. I can't visualize it right now in a way that seems appropriate or possible. But I love collaboration, and I'd love to include. And so that's my answer to that question.
Cool. So let's say 20 hours a week, and let's say the business is making 10 grand a month, for argument's sake. Okay. And so this comes back down to earlier, before we went live, I was like, okay, so I'd really recommend that you do videos consistently. I'd really recommend that you do this at the same time. And I really recommend that you do them every day. And you were like, you mean every day? And I said, yes, I mean every day. And the reason is, as I mentioned earlier, if you want your business to make money every day, you have to do the things for your business to make money every day, right? Or you have to set up systems that do the things to make money every day. And so live streaming every day now is doing the work today to create the business that you want in the future, where you're going to be busy doing something else for the business anyway to fulfill on it, right? And so doing a 5 minute to hour long live stream every day, it's kind of like the easiest part of the business, really. If you think forward a year or 2 years or 3 years into the future, where it's cranking and you have a best-selling book and or a thriving practice and or all your group experiences and workshops are filled to the brim, there's a lot of work to do leading up to that, right? And so basically every time you do a video, it's just planting another seed, planting another seed, planting another seed, planting another seed. And once your business grows and you're making more money and you figure out the types of videos and the type of content that people resonate with, at some point, if you don't love it, you can have other people on your team making videos and creating content, and you no longer have to do that every day. But as long as you're using free social media as the primary growth tool for the business, somebody's got to create that stuff every day. And at some point, chances are good that you'll shift to using some sort of paid advertising to grow the business. But the free advertising, which is social media, is a great place to test the waters and test out messaging and see what people do and don't respond to. Right. Yeah. So again, every day do it. So my question for you is, are you willing to start live streaming every day? That's the
notice
feet to the fire part. Yeah.
Yes, I'm willing to. Yes, I'm
Awesome.
I'm willing to do that. Yes.
All right. All right. Are you willing to start today?
Um. Hmm.
You see
How
the
about
resistance?
this?
You see the resistance?
I do. I do.
All right.
So what I'm going to say is, how about I get StreamYard today. I look at it. I look at connecting it to all those platforms, and tomorrow morning there will be a live stream from me.
I'm going to help you a little bit.
Okay.
Which is yes on the StreamYard.
Okay.
But do a live stream today from your phone.
Okay.
Just use Facebook and introduce yourself and say, hey, it's Matt Blau. I'm doing a live stream. I don't know how it's going to turn out. It might totally suck. Here's what I'm going to be talking about over the next few months. I'm going to be talking about my tour business.
Yeah.
I'm going to be talking about the work. I'm going to be talking about psychedelics. And I might talk about restaurants, or whatever you're going to talk about. Right. And it literally could be a 30-second video. It doesn't need, it's about overcoming the emotional resistance that came up as soon as I asked you if you're willing to do it every day. Right. I didn't say, are you willing to do it every day for the rest of your life? Right. And I said, and are you willing to start today? And in both cases, you were like, it's pressing a button on Facebook on your phone that you do every single day anyway, right? Yep. Like you log into Facebook. I'm guessing you log into Facebook every day. So that's the part that fucks people up is hesitating, not really for a good reason.
Yep. Right? No, I totally get it. I hear you, and I will stream something today.
Awesome.
And I had a question. First of all, I want to say thank you, Liza, again for sticking in. I appreciate that. And yes, it will definitely involve sharing the process of writing the book. And my goal is to make it as conversational as possible. I really want to. I much more than sort of being a talking head. I want to be a part of a conversation. So yes, it will, and I look forward to your feedback about it and suggestions and comments. So absolutely, it will include that. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep.
Cool. So I'm looking forward to talking about this more because I'm getting flooded with some pretty sweet ideas just around all this stuff. So it's good. It's good. Also, Matt, I am more than happy to do some co-hosting with you if that seems like it would be helpful or appropriate for what you're working on, because I think it would be super fun and I like talking with you. So
sounds amazing. Sounds
cool. Amazing. Well, I think that's all of the all the high points for the day. Just to get the ball rolling is so. Yeah, I'm looking. What time are you going to do your live stream?
What now? It is 9:30. I need to go out and get my daughter some female things, and then 9:30 my time, probably 11, something like that.
Sweet. All right.
So it should be an hour later your time. Yeah. Yeah. So 11 my time, noon your time. Let's say. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. And the biggest thing I would say is be totally willing to fuck it all up. There's nothing wrong with that. Totally. And like, if you don't today, you'll definitely mess it up in the future. It's okay. And I look forward to it. This should be fun.
Sounds great. Thank you again, Tom, so much. This has been really invaluable, and I most appreciate you holding my feet to the fire.
All right. Well, hopefully we can do that for each other a little bit. That'll be great.
All right. Nice. All right. Thanks, Tom, and we'll see each other again very soon.
Yeah. Feel free to hit me back up with any questions or whatever. And we'll talk soon, I'm sure.
I will. And thank you,
Liza. I'm going to end the broadcast, but it won't kick you off.
Okay. All right.
Bye, guys. Thanks for tuning in, Liza.
Thank you, Liza.